The Knicks fired Tom Thibodeau. Kind of shocking news yesterday. And we're a college basketball channel for the most part. Yeah, we talk NBA from time to time. So if you want to give your thoughts in general on the firing or who a potential next Knicks hire could be, feel free. The more important element of this for me is very simply put this. Last summer, college basketball's offseason was defined by Dan Hurley's flirtations with the Lakers. A lot of people thought he would leave. There were reports that he would leave. He turned it down. We ended up with J.J. Redick as the hire. And in the end, Dan Hurley back at UConn, where they had an underwhelming season, but big hopes for this upcoming year. Well, the only job that we've been told privately Dan Hurley would ever seriously entertain at the NBA. If you're going to turn down the Los Angeles Lakers, you're turning down every NBA job, except for maybe one. Except for maybe the New York Knicks, an East Coast team, the biggest brand on the East Coast, that would keep you in the general area that you want your family to live in. We've seen Dan Hurley come to Madison Square Garden millions of times for basketball games, for Billy Joel concerts. You name it, he's there. And that could be his new home, presumably, if he wanted to angle for the job. Do you think that Dan Hurley will be a serious candidate for the New York Knicks?
I think absolutely not.
No.
Yeah, I don't see it. Couple factors in that I think through on this one. One, yeah, UConn's nasty this year. UConn's nasty. They're going to be really good. He is a guy who I think takes very much pride in his legacy and how he holds up, I guess, in the college ranks. I think that Dan Hurley would go to any lengths to be a three-time national champion because two-time just doesn't sound good enough for him. The back-to-back lore is wearing off. I think he wants three of them things. I think he wants to be etched in college basketball lore by being a coach that wins three national titles, doing so at UConn. And UConn's really nasty this year. Also, in a world where we do a quick game of what is the interaction between Dan Hurley and this player? What does Dan Hurley's interaction look like with current Knicks players?
It's a good question.
Jalen Brunson, is he going for that? He loves it, right? Jalen Brunson's incredible. How
Uh,
long does it take? How long does it take for Dan Hurley to smack Jalen Brunson's dad in front of Jalen Brunson?
Counterpoint, I think that might be what the Brunson family needs.
But is it what Jalen Brunson wants?
Also, you got to admit, the current Knicks roster, look, maybe it's not as appealing as the idea of I get to coach LeBron James, but taking the Lakers job the year they were going to bring Bronny into the fold and do that whole charade was a different job than trying to win a championship with a bunch of dudes who played on the same college team together that are legitimate best friends. Like, if there's ever been an NBA team that operates like a college locker room, it's the Nova Knicks, right? Like there is at
Yeah.
least a little element of that. If he was gonna try and make the jump, it would be a pretty great roster to try and do it with.
Also about this, as far as like how media worlds collide, LA media is definitely cutthroat. There's no cutthroat media like New York media, and Hurley ain't going for that. Like he at the college level, he's got a certain like you respect me, you talk to me in a certain way. Don't open your mouth a certain way when you're talking to me. Like that's he's going to be encountered with that if he goes to the Knicks, I think. And I know it's a dream job. I know you point out everything that makes sense. Imagine Greg Doyle asking Dan Hurley a question.
I mean, Greg Doyle is an Indiana reporter.
Yeah, but like he will find his way.
And I think Greg Doyle would probably help Dan Hurley's public image, honestly, just from any interaction. Um, Okay, look, I hear you. I think I lean on your side that Dan Hurley will not be a serious candidate, but I would say this, I think it would be more likely that it's the Knicks that aren't interested in Dan Hurley than it would be Dan Hurley not interested in the Knicks. I think firing Tib, honestly, lost in this is the fact that's a pretty shocking decision, right? Tib just led this team like further than they've gone in my
Did,
life.
did you happen to see the Bill Simmons clip where he talked about this though?
This video is brought to you by NBA 2KLab.com. 2K Lab worked with us last summer as well. They're one of our favorite entities in all of sports gaming. We want to show you their college basketball stadium locator challenge game. And I'm going to share a screen right now as we do this. South Carolina, bang. Oh,
Ooh,
okay, that's pretty good. Next, North Carolina. Why are we only getting the Carolinas?
please
Bang.
lock in.
St. John's, that's New
New
York.
York.
Bang.
Where's New Jersey?
We're on fire. Colorado. I actually don't know what state Colorado is.
It's it's in Colorado. There's a state of
Is that
Colorado.
this one?
It's to the right of Phoenix.
Anyway, you get the picture. This game's really fun. They've got more games as well, like Guess the NBA Player, Mystery Fantasy Draft, and more. Stay tuned for all of the college football content and games that they'll be putting together to help you get the best experience out of college football 26. Back to the video. No.
It made sense when he put it like this. It's like you look at how far this team can go with Tibbs as the head coach, and this might be like the maximization of it.
Maybe.
Like this is the best output. This was the best chance for them. They avoided everybody. They avoided everybody. And I know the Pacers are good, but like if you can't get there with this team in this situation, then something has to change.
Maybe. I think it's a cutthroat industry because they had a great season, man.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, but you see this in the NBA. I mean, the NBA Coach of the Year gets fired
yeah,
after
I
going
disagree
to the
that
finals.
it shouldn't operate that way, but you're right, it does operate that way. But I guess okay, here's my last point on this. Do I think Dan Hurley is interested in the Knicks job if they call him? I do. Do I think he'll end up the Knicks coach? No. I think the Knicks will ultimately decide for somebody else that is a proven NBA coach because there are some good candidates out there right now. Like go hire Taylor Jenkins, go hire Mike Malone. Those are good coaches that could win an NBA championship for you. I think there is a whole level of hoopla that comes with Hurley that the Knicks might just want to avoid. Who knows? If they wanted Dan Hurley, I think they could get Dan Hurley. And here's my biggest reason why, and it's not something I heard you say yet. You mentioned that Dan Hurley's whole legacy or whatever at this point is he wants to win more. The next one. That's what we said last offseason, right?
Mhm.
But Dan Hurley's also a cutthroat genius, right? He's a smart guy. You agree with me on that? He's a
Yeah,
genius.
yeah, 100%. An evil one, but yes.
Do you think that Dan Hurley learned anything from last year?
Don't be bad.
He turned down the Lakers to do exactly what you're saying he should do, right? Right?
Yeah, yeah.
He turned last year it was I don't want the Lakers. I want my third straight title. That's what Dan Hurley said. And then what happened, Cart?
They weren't good.
They went 0-3 at the Maui Invitational. They didn't win anything. Do you think that Dan Hurley's ever gone to bed at night and been like, damn, I turned this down to lose 12 games with Liam McNeely? That's what he did. And I get it. Last year, coming into the season, there was a level of genuine self belief, ego to it of like, no one can fucking touch me. I'm Dan Hurley. Guess what? Everybody touched you. The Donovan Clingan reign ended. I'm just saying. Now, again, they're a top 14, like you said. He loves his roster. I think they can win a national title. But this is a lot different. Like turning down the Knicks coming off a bad season is a lot different than turning down the Lakers coming off two straight championships.
So last thing based off that point, the only thing that makes it successful is that if he literally wins it all.
But I think, much like any college coach that leaves for the NBA, you're not leaving to be defined by winning. You're leaving to be defined by, I did it. I'm Dan Hurley, the Knicks coach. That's a whole new chapter to his legacy that just can't be touched no matter how many championships he wins in college.
I won back-to-back national titles, and I also was the head coach of the Knicks.
Ain't nobody got that resume.
That's an elite point.
But again, it made sense to me last year when he's like, do I want to do the whole Bronny charade when I could go win my third straight? Like that made sense to me. Turning
Yeah.
down the Knicks? when you just finish fourth in the Big East would not make a lot of sense to me. But
Yeah,
we'll see. Again, I don't think he's going to be in a position to need to turn the job down or accept it. I think the Knicks will go in a different direction. But I do genuinely believe if they call, Dan Hurley will be picking up this year.
yeah.
We'll see. Did you see friend of the program's tweet yesterday?
Nah, what was it?
Mr. Ball? Question mark.
Oh, yeah. Is that fake?
We'll talk offline.
Okay.